Terry was like a big brother to me. I a little history. I mean, our fathers, Dory Funk Sr. and my dad, who wrestled as Iron Mike DiBiase, were the best of friends. And I think I've mentioned this before, but they had what is considered the longest professional wrestling match in history, a 3 hour and almost 20-minute Texas death match in Amarillo, Texas, in 1966. And I don't want to get into any of what that means and how they did it, but um, we're originally, our home was Omaha, Nebraska, and I can remember driving from Omaha down to visit my grandmother, my grandparents, my mother's mother in Wilcox, Arizona. And we always came. We didn't have to go through Amarillo, but we would always go through Amarillo. We would always stop and stay and visit with the Funks overnight. And they lived out in the country. Dory Senior had a big ranch and a lot of cattle and everything. And of course, that was back in the days of the serious kayfabe, but he was out in the country, so when nobody really worried too much about being spotted. Um, but just I don't know why. I just remember this one day. Now I'm a kid, like okay, 1966. I was born in 54, so 54, 64. I was 12 years old, and so Terry gets me up on a horse with him, and we're going around, and I asked him. I said, Terrier, are there any rattlesnakes out here? And he says, oh yeah, we see them every now and then. He says, tell you what, if we see a rattlesnake, I tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to let you off the horse. I'm going to leave you here to watch the snake, and I'm going to go back to the house and grab the gun. And I looked at him, with this look on my face, and he started laughing. And I said, "You ain't leaving me out here." He was just a funny guy too. I mean, unbelievable performer, but just a person. I mean, the whole family thing. We went back to Nebraska, and then I went my freshman year of high school to Catholic prep school, Omaha Creighton Prep. Tough school. All the instructors were Jesuit priests, and they're kind of like drill instructors anyway. But I had a good year in sports. I mean, freshman year, I played we had a freshman football team that went undefeated six games. And then they moved me up to the junior varsity team. Also had they had a team, and I played 2 more games with them. And then basically what my dad saw was that I had talent, that I was possibly going to go places in football. His thought was, let's go back to Texas. Texas is famous for its high school football programs. It's just nuts. I mean, there are so many kids that go on to play in colleges all over the United States that came out of Texas high schools. Anyway, so we go back to Amarillo, and this is, this would be the summer of 1969, and we'd only been there like a month, and my dad has a heart attack in the ring in Lubbock, Texas, and dies on the operating table in the hospital. Just crushed me. And once again, the Funk family are right there for us. And so we go back. I go back to Arizona, where my mother's parents lived, in this little town, Wilcox, Arizona. I had dreams of playing college football, and I was looking at this little town, and very familiar with it because my grandparents lived there.
Hmm.
But it was like, can my dreams come true here? And make a long story short, I did very well in football, even though we were a Division II team, and I had already signed a letter of intent to play football at the University of Arizona. And I turned on TV one day, and it's wrestling. I haven't seen any wrestling, Marcus, in 3 years,
Wow.
and I could tell this is the tape out of Amarillo, Texas. And so they made so coming to Tucson, the Funks, Dory Funk Senior, Dory Funk Junior. The first time they came, it was just senior and junior. But then I went to see them, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, we're going to be back in 2 weeks. Terry's going to be with us. Come back and see us." And I did. And Terry said, he said, "Hey Teddy," he said, "even if if you're going to go to Arizona, great, but I can get you a recruiting trip to West Texas State, and if for nothing else, just it's a free trip. Come back and visit the school and just basically see everybody." So I took that recruiting trip, and I mean, and a lot of people, and there it is. That's I'm about to sign a contract to play at West Texas State. Terry Funk was right there. I mean, largely, he's the one that talked to the school and got him to give me a recruiting trip and that whole deal. And so I went to West Texas State, and I played ball there for 3 years, and I got married, got divorced, but my relationship with Terry, more than anybody, I mean, again, the whole Funk family. I love my mother and Terry's mother. Terry's mother's name was Dorothy, and they were the best of friends, And I mean, I remember when I first went in there, my mom went with me, and my graduation present from my mother and grandmother was well, it was the down payment on a brand new uh, Chevy Nova,
All right.
a new car. And so my mom went with me, and her and Dorothy were the best of friends, and just I don't know, just so many special memories with the Funks. But Terry, and again, I'm not taking anything away from Dory Funk Jr. Again, I consider him one of the best ever. I mean, I remember watching Dory Jr. wrestle Jack Briscoe in Amarillo for an NWA World Title match, and they went 1 hour to a draw. It went Broadway. We call it Broadway, going Broadway,
Hmm.
and but everybody was on their feet because it was such an unbelievable match. But again, Terry could do that, and he did that very well. But he could shake it up, buddy. He could be an orangutan.